going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. Before I get into the video, I just wanted to share this view over here out in Dubai. You can see over here, basically I'm on what they call the Palm, which is pretty much like this man-made structure. And if you actually look at, from an aerial view, it looks like a palm tree. So it's actually pretty cool. You can see over there, they have the, that's the Atlantis Hotel. And you can't see the other part of the city with the Burj Khalifa. You can see some construction over here and stuff, but I don't know, just kind of wanted to show you guys where we're hanging out here in Dubai before we hop into the video. But we do have a lot to talk about before I hop in, so let me get into that right now. But before we actually get into the video and stuff, and I do apologize, guys, I realize it's a little bit echoey in here. I'm probably going to go to the mall and buy a microphone or something while I'm here just for a little better quality. But anyway, that's not the point. Right now, I had a little bit of a rant I wanted to start the video off with. Usually we dive right in, we get right to the news, but it really dawned on me, and I'm starting to realize that there's like these contrarian views on what's happening right now, right? You're seeing a lot of negativity, like, oh, everybody's just way too bullish on Bitcoin right now, so that means that we absolutely have to fall. You know, this is all just a trick to fool us, and we're all just in this giant bull trap. Well, I just want to remind everybody that this is a bit of an echo chamber, okay? If you go over on Twitter or you go on YouTube, it's the same people showing up on the same videos, having the same conversations, and it's just this echo chamber over and over and over again. I can tell you right now, I am not getting nearly as many views, nearly as many subscribers as I was 2 years ago. I'm not getting called up on the phone by relatives and friends from college asking if now's a good time to buy Bitcoin. No, it's dead silent. In fact, most people don't even really know what a Bitcoin spot ETF is. I mean, even just walking around Dubai here, you don't hear a lot of people talking about Bitcoin and crypto, even though a lot of people associate, that with Dubai. But really, it's only when you go to these select events. The majority of people still have absolutely no idea. So again, what I'm trying to point out is it's really just the smart money and the diehards that are here and, that are essentially bullish. So when I think that we should take the contrarian approach because you're hearing a lot of bullish talk, the bullish talk that you're hearing is from people who have been in the space for a while, people like me. I've been looking at these charts for 7 years now, and I can tell you when I see something, I want to share it with you. And right now, I don't think is the time to be bearish, okay? But that's just obviously my opinion. But I just wanted to kind of share that and also say, if you're watching this video right now, pat yourself on the back, give yourself a, give a thumbs up if you want to share this video. But, again, what's going to happen? Everybody watching, what are your friends going to do when Bitcoin's at 100, 150,000? They're going to say, oh, you got lucky. You got lucky, right? You didn't get lucky. You put in the time, you put in the hard work, you paid attention, you stuck around dollar cost average, right? Whatever it is that you guys are doing. So anyway, just want to say congratulations. I generally don't start the video off with a rant, but I thought that it was appropriate based on today. So let's dive in super quick. Having a look at the chart, you guys could see right here, we did have this nice flag consolidation pattern and a beautiful breakout. Now, again, I did say that there was a possibility of having a retest down at these levels, although having a look at this, I'm not too sure. It does look like we're curving up, but there is one reason why I don't necessarily want to have a crazy move this weekend, and I will explain to you why I kind of don't want that in the short term, and it's not me not being bullish. I'll just explain it to you a little bit later in the video. But what's so interesting is we've been talking about this decoupling on the channel for a while, right? How Bitcoin used to basically just follow everything that the S&P and the stock market was doing. And, if you have a look right here, so we have Bitcoin clearly in an uptrend, and if I switch it to the daily, right, you can obviously see that we've been in, clearly, 3 straight days of green. And coming over here, having a look, we have 3 straight days of red. And in fact, the S&P not only has had 3 straight days of red, but it actually lost the upward sloping trend right here. Let me just get this back. Sorry, it's all out of whack here. Here we go. So you could see right here, right? We had this upwards trend right here, right here, right here. And you could see that we actually broke that. Now, we are still being held on right here. However, again, you're seeing Bitcoin moving up, S&P moving down. Actually, gold moved up as well, which is really crazy. That was a very interesting move as well. But, getting back, just kind of talking about things. So discussing the fact that you have the smart money and then the diehards, I wanted to just point out this post that Sylvian Searle put out. And, this guy, Dr. Laffer, okay, he argues that the Bitcoin standard can work. Now, most people don't really know who this guy is, but he says that this has some significance since Dr. Arthur Laffer is known for the Laffer curve theory. I hope I'm saying his name right. I've never heard it pronounced. He is recognized as the father of supply side economics. I mean, you can look at this guy right here, right? He doesn't really look like he's like a hardcore Bitcoiner, right? He just clearly looks at things in a practical application. And he's over here. He was a member of the U.S. President Reagan's Economic Policy Advisor Board, and he was over here on this panel. I don't know, what's her name? Kathy Wood was on it. And I just want you to kind of hear the way that these people like, for example, this doctor, are even speaking about Bitcoin now.
Because deflation depends, I don't know if you think of it in terms of Milton Friedman or stuff, and I don't, but let's just say you did. Because there's a limited number of Bitcoins, that therefore as GDP grows in the world over time and all that, that then you would find less and less Bitcoin per unit of GDP. And then you'd start finding deflation occur to get the real value of Bitcoin up to being the same ratio as GDP. That's sort of the monetary view of the world. If you look at that, there's no reason why that's true, because you could surely have a system that uses Bitcoin as sort of a monetary base, the way gold was. And then you had the banks, which then used the leverage on the gold system. So banks would issue liabilities that were larger than their reserves based upon their cash inflows and outflows on that. So you can have clearly a monetary base and a monetary expansion, and allow Bitcoin assets total to expand quite along with GDP or whatever else the demand for money is. Now, you probably have substitutes in the system as well. I don't know if you do, will or not, but we have all sorts of substitutes in money in the system. I wrote a piece in the JPE called Trade Credit in the Money Market. You can use trade credit to arbitrage the transactions demand for money by using trade credit there and matching income and expenditure streams on credit. So there are just lots of ways. So I don't see a serious complaint about Bitcoin with regard to deflation. And if you get a price rule system in there, if something like a banking system comes in and decides to do that, I don't see why you'd have a problem on volatility either. I mean, all of these are there. With regard to anonymity, I think anonymity is a wonderful trait, not a bad trait. Yes, it can be used by criminals. That's for damn sure. But it cannot be used by governments. And I sent you that book, Kathy, on coding. If you know prime number coding, you can make literally codes today that are unbreakable. And you can transfer them to an owner and a thing, and you can guarantee. And Kathy, you have that book there. I don't know if you did. I didn't bring my copy today. I should have.
Obviously, Robert Kiyosaki coming out saying gold will soon break through the $2,100 level and then take off. You will wish you had bought below 2,000. Next stop, gold 3,700. And then he says Bitcoin testing 30,000. Next stop, Bitcoin 135,000. Now, I'm not sure 100% where he's getting that number from, but I will say that we have actually used some Fibonacci retracements in the past. One of my videos was actually really popular on this, and we projected based off of just those levels, just technicals, not knowing anything, that you could literally see Bitcoin get up to around $180,000 just based on these previous price movements. So he says, please tell your friends to wake up. But then again, will they wake up, or will they ignore it until Bitcoin is now above $100,000 and all this? Well, you had over here the chief legal officer, Paul Gruel, he's from Coinbase, and they were on CNBC, and they were discussing, the fact that a lot of these people got really burnt, right, in the Celsius FTX BlockFi debacle. So not only did you have all of these people losing all this money to Sam and friends, but then on top of it, you had this really sort of boring sideways downwards bear market essentially for 2 straight years. So not only did people get bored, but they also got burnt, and a lot of them have left the building. But he actually goes on to talk about why he's optimistic about, eventually, these average sort of traders and investors in retail coming back in. And also they're very confident about this ETF.
You think there's a whole generation of retail investors who just got burnt really badly in some of the debacles, quite frankly, we saw last year and won't really return to the market? Or are you optimistic at this point that you will see these volumes come back?
Well, I'm quite encouraged and quite optimistic that a number of the bad actors in this space are being held to account. through criminal trials and through aggressive regulatory actions that really are critical to inspiring confidence, not just in the retail sector, but in all sectors that may be interested in crypto. We are quite excited that there are a number of developments we think that are just around the corner or underway even as we speak that will bring back investor and consumer interest in crypto. For example, we think it's quite positive that the U.S. Court of Appeals rejected the SEC's rationale when it turned away Grayscale's request to offer a Bitcoin ETF. We think that other ETFs are going to be coming online soon enough as the SEC follows the law and is required to apply the law in a neutral way to the applications that are pending. We think there are obviously new products and services to service the Web3 and on-chain markets that will draw further interest in crypto that have really little or nothing to do with speculating on the value of the assets and are much more about utility. So there's a lot to be excited about in crypto. It may be taking longer than some of us would like, but we do think the future is bright.
But again, like he says, it is quite unfortunate the fact that the US is taking so long to sort of get the ball rolling, right? And as you can see right here, crypto-friendly Dubai has gained 25,000 business licenses, 60% rise compared to the previous year. I mean, I'm literally here right now, so that should be saying something, right? And a lot of these businesses are moving to places, moving to jurisdictions that are just more friendly, that are actually trying to be progressive. Now, this doesn't mean anything. I'm not saying I'm going to leave the US. A lot of people think just because I'm here, that's it. No, that's not. I actually am very confident that the US will eventually get their ish together. I do think they will. It's just in the meantime, it's kind of difficult. I mean, you guys don't even know what I've had to deal with in the past year. I've kept quite silent about it, but it has been an absolute nightmare trying to do business in the US as a person who deals with Bitcoin and crypto. It's like you're kind of automatically lumped into this category, and it doesn't help that you have guys like Sam, Bankman-Fried and all these terrible things. I mean, really, for like a straight year and a half, it was nothing but negative news, right? So yeah, I mean, that's just that. If you guys want to know about my story, maybe one day I'll make a video on it. I mean, it probably would make a really great movie, in all fairness. But getting back to the topic at hand here, and we're gonna get to the TA in a bit. It's the weekend, so I'm not really expecting much. But, you have crypto advocate Tom Enner entering the race for House Speaker. He is very pro-crypto, Bitcoin, Web3, etc. He is the one that's gone against Gary Gensler along with Warren Davidson and a handful of others. So it says that he's announced his bid for the House Speaker. The House is currently in legislative standstill after Jim Jordan's defeat and Mick Henry's interim leadership, which, by the way, Mick Henry, you guys remember the clip with him. He's the guy with the bow tie who's literally asking Gary Gensler, so is Ethereum a security? Well, if you apply the Howey test and there's a company and there's people who assume there's profits, okay, so is it or is not a security? Well, judge it, and you just wouldn't answer the question, right? So, basically this is like arguably, I mean, this is what the third Emmer, the third ranking Republican, is viewed as a strong contender, and obviously this position is a very high position. So ultimately, you have currently right now a pro-Bitcoiner standing in, and then you have this guy who's also very pro-cryptocurrency looking to apply for this role as well. So slowly but surely, the dinosaurs, the Gary Genslers, the Elizabeth Warrens, and I know she's not a Congress member. Somebody corrected me that the other day. But these people in general that oppose the space, they're going to slowly be sifted out. They're going to be replaced by the new, right? And it just takes a little bit longer in the US is basically that situation. So let's dive in. Let's have a look at the charts. Obviously nothing crazy different because it is the weekend. And I will tell you why I don't want to pump too hard this weekend, just for a little reason. I'll explain you why. But right here, this is the dollar, the DXY, right? And you could see it made its attempt to break back into the channel, but it actually thus far, I mean, you could say arguably it's consolidating. Like a rejection would be like, something crazy down, but I would argue to say that it is being rejected because it's unable to claim this higher level. And as of right now, it is starting to put in a lower low, lower high structure, right? So we could say that the dollar may end up, forming some kind of a channel to the downside. We could probably even just put one on right now if you really wanted to kind of just, just kind of eyeball what we could be doing, we could be doing something like this, right? We could be now forming a downwards channel. And we know that historically speaking, that tends to be genuinely good for risk on assets. Again, just going back to this very, very super simple, absolutely free indicator, the hash ribbons, this tends to signal, well, this is the capitulation. And then when you get this blue buy signal, you could see historically, even right here, you could argue, oh, this was a fake out. Yeah, but we still went to an all-time high. This one right here, we've done this time and time again. And this is a very, very good indicator with an 88% success rate. And I would even argue that the times that it was wrong were questionable because, right here, technically we still went to the all-time high, right here. And the last time was COVID. So really, I would give that 100% success rate in my book. But, hey, to each his own. You can always cherry pick the numbers. But what I've been pointing out, and a lot of people hate that I use the super guppy. I think they just don't like the name of it. But this indicator, very, very simple indicator. Essentially, when you have these moving averages and they cross over, what happens is, when they flip green, they tend to stay green for a very, very long time. I mean, again, look at this one area where it went green. If you go back historically, right? There's only one instance in which it had a fake out. And what was that instance? Well, it was obviously our good old buddy COVID, which was the black swan, right? And what tends to happen is once we lose it, we go into the neutral, and then you flip into this dark blue, and then what you do is eventually you get into this red zone, and the red zone usually is telling us that we're coming towards the end of the bear market, right? You can see right here, we're coming towards the end of the bear market. Well, we had this same situation right here, and you can actually argue that this actually looks more like this than it does, in this one right here. So, if you have a look, essentially what you have is you have the blue turning into the red. Then what you do is you have this nice pop. You get this sort of, what do you call it, like a turquoise colored arrow, and it goes into a neutral area. Then you flip the bands to the light blue, and then eventually you get your green. And once you get your green, that's pretty much bull is on, baby. Bull is on, right? So we don't have the green just yet. We have the little arrow pointing right here, so that's good. We got that. But we are out of the red, and we're in this span of neutral. So again, what generally tends to happen is once you get out of that neutral, you go into the blue, and then you go into the green. But here's the thing, guys. By the time you get the confirmation on this, you've often missed a whole portion of the move, right? I mean, from the bottom to when you actually get the signal, right? Here's the signal happening here. Bitcoin already pumped, about 82% roughly. And we've actually pumped even more, I believe, in this current one. I think it's just that the bands were so low twisted. We're about 92% roughly. Is that correct, 92%? Is that actually correct from the bottom? Yeah, about 92%. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we, start to see this band flip. And again, that pretty much solidifies that the bull is on. And yeah, I mean, everybody had all these opportunities to buy, and they just didn't buy. They didn't care, right? That's just how it goes. If we have a look right here, while everything is breaking down its parallel channels, we have Bitcoin holding above the 100, 200, and over here on the daily, we have this little wick right here, as you guys can see. This is technically a tail, and that tail is now using this top resistance as the support, right? So that is showing us that we still have that momentum. The only thing that is a little worrisome, of course, is entering this dreaded zone right here. Because we know that when you have these very, very long periods of support, they tend to be intense resistance. So what some people would say, oh, it was a failure, we came up here and then crashed back down to like the 26K level or something. But again, that's not out of the cards as long as we maintain above these major trends, right? Very, very simple trend lines. I mean, a 5-year-old could draw these, right? We have this original one from July of 2017, the COVID wick, and then we have this blue from the bottom. So, I mean, staying above, we're above all of these right now. So getting bearish makes absolutely no sense until we at least start to get close or test some of them. We have Market Cipher again showing us money flow moving into the green. We have larger trigger waves outweighing the smaller trigger waves. And again, the only thing, like I said, why I wouldn't want a crazy pump over the weekend is because if we did have a crazy pump, we have CME having a wick up to about $30,465. Keep in mind, this is futures. So, if we were to have a candle, to open up, somewhere up here or something, that would put a gap right here. And, as you can see down here, gaps tend to get filled, right? So, here's a gap right here. This was actually a gap to the upside. came up, filled the gap, then came back down, right? So, you know, that would just basically mean if we pumped up, then yeah, there would be a very good chance we'd come back down and fill it and then move to the upside. But the big biggie, the big tamale, the granddaddy, the big boss that I talked about that we have to beat is this major, you know, multi-year downtrend, perfect parallel trend. I mean, this is a textbook parallel trend. You couldn't make this up right here. And again, you know, you had all of these moving averages right here, shooting Bitcoin down over 22%. And then what happened? Bitcoin came back up, we danced around, and now, as you guys can see right here, this candle, this weekly candle is looking to hold above all of these moving averages, the 50, the 200 DMA, the 21 exponential, the 200 weekly, the 100 weekly. And of course, we also have this major downwards trend. So this could be setting us up for a major bump and run reversal. And generally speaking, you know, once you do get that move, you usually don't come back down, right? So, I mean, that's the bullish news. Is there anything negative? Well, we have the Fed's interest rate decision approaching, and will the Fed increase interest rates at its November meeting? Well, we don't know that. So, according to the estimates, the Fed is expected to keep interest rates constant at its meeting on November 1st. So, that could throw a little bit of a wrench in the gear. But ultimately, guys, like I said, there has been a lot of room to be bearish. There has been over 2 years, basically, to be, well, not fully 2 years, like a year and a half to be bearish. And, you know, it's, you know what it is? It's that PTSD. That's what it is. It's like when we're going to 100K, it's like people can't accept the fact that now price is going down. And because we've had all these negatives happen, because price has been held down for so long, now people are, you know, battle scarred that they can't accept the fact that the markets could be reversing, right? It's like you just can't get on board with it. So that is it for me today, guys. A little bit of an interesting kind of mixed rant sort of commentary video today. It is the weekend, obviously. So again, this video is coming out a little bit early than usual. So this is why I said, you know, I'm not in US time zone. So make sure you turn on those bell notifications so you can get those updates. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And yeah, if you're here, man, just pat yourself on the back because like I said, they're going to tell you that you got lucky, but you didn't get lucky. You put in the work, you stuck it out, and you know that's what I do, guys. Bull market, bear market, crab market, doesn't matter to me. I'm here. You guys rock. You're the reason that I make these videos every day. Again, sorry about the echo in here. I'm gonna try to. Everything in this room is made out of like tile and rock and like stone and glass. Like I'm not like so. It's a very echoey room in here. So yeah, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You are amazing. I love you all. Until next time, guys. Stay crypto, and of course, you guys know if you want to check out some free tutorials, check these popping up right here, right now. We obviously have, you know, BitGet and CoinCatch, and then of course, decentralized Apex if you guys are interested. And if you're looking to trade on Apex, it's basically Bybit. So watch my Bybit tutorial. It's the same exact thing. Same exact interface, everything. So that's it for me. You guys rock. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.